Hi, everyone. I'm Diana Graber. I'm the founder of Civics and CyberWise, and I'm also the author of Raising Humans in a Digital World. And I'm here to guide you through level 1 of Civics, which is all about digital citizenship. All right, so hopefully you know about us. We are a middle school digital literacy program, very comprehensive series of lessons that cover digital citizenship, information literacy, and media literacy. And our goal is to teach students how to become ethical, safe, and productive digital citizens. All right, so a little bit of about our background. We've actually been around for 12 years. We were founded in Southern California at a public charter Waldorf school called Journey School, where my own children attended, and they were there when the school experienced its first cyberbullying incident, and no one really knew what to do about it. At the time, I had just completed a master's program in media psychology and written a white paper about digital literacy. So the administrator said, "Hey, will you help us put together a 3-year program that helps kids preempt these problems in the future?" So of course I was excited to do that, was able to tap into academia through my program and also some great ed directors that we had at Journey School. And today, cyber civics is being taught in 48 US states and 7 other countries, in schools, in homeschools, and also through community organizations. All right, so digital literacy, just for a little background here, is a big umbrella. It covers, I love this definition from Media Smarts. It's a wide variety of ethical, social, and reflective practices that are embedded in work, learning, leisure, and daily life. So it's a lot, right? That's why we do it in 3 levels. Level 1, digital citizenship, the safe and responsible use of digital tools. Level 2, generally taught in 7th grade, is information literacy, how to find, retrieve, analyze, and use online information. In level 3, my personal favorite, media literacy, how to critically evaluate and creatively produce media, and that's generally taught in 8th grade and sometimes even in high school. Okay, so just a word about the curriculum. It's developmentally appropriate. We spend a lot of time sequencing digital literacy lessons in a way that meets students where they are, and more importantly, in a way that makes sense to them. This is a big world. It takes time for them to actually process how all these things work together. Hands-on. So all of our lessons are hands-on. You don't need computers. The kids don't need computers for this first level of cyber civics. We believe it's about neurology, not technology. Proactive, we empower youth with skills to use technology safely and wisely. And finally, this is not a fear-based program. We want students to harness the power of digital technologies in positive ways. So we get asked this question a lot, so I'm going to address it here. Why do you wait till middle school? Kids are using computers so young. Well, this is an intentional choice. When a child reaches that middle school age, 11 to 14, their interest in digital media peaks. And this is because they're detaching from their families of origin. They're reaching out to their peers to figure out who they are and what they like. A lot of that work is happening online today. So they're super interested in socializing with their friends via these devices. Also around 12, children finally develop that capacity for abstract thinking, which is the prerequisite to ethical thinking. And everything they do online requires ethical thought, as you'll see as we go through these lessons. All right, so we think digital literacy is a journey, and we are going to start our journey looking at level 1, which again is digital citizenship. So this level is broken up into 6 units. Every unit has about between 3 and 5 lessons in them. The lessons, again, are about 50 minutes long. Most schools teach them once a week, so there's enough curriculum in here to get you through the entirety of a school year. We're going to look at Unit 1, which is Becoming a Detective. In this unit, students explore the impact of technologies introduced throughout history. The goal is for them to learn how to view technology as a tool. So there's 3 lessons in this unit. The first one, detective work. So in the portal that teachers use, when teachers subscribe to the program, you have your own private little portal. You'll have a course overview here. And within it, you'll see every unit starts with a teacher guide. So the teacher guide is very short. It's never more than 2 pages, but it basically gives the teacher just overview of preparation to teach the lessons in the unit. It takes you 3 minutes to read this, but basically you don't really need to know much. You just need to bring your wisdom and follow the guide that we give you with each lesson plan. This is something I really love though. Within each unit, we have a parent guardian letter. This letter has activities that can be done at home. There's an activity that goes with every single lesson. So it really underscores what you're teaching in the classroom. really encourage you to send these home, either email them or print them out and send them home with the kids. All right, so in the teacher portal, this is what it looks like. The lesson plan is on the left. It can just be read simply online, or you can go up to the top and print it, download it and print it so you have a hard piece of paper in your hand when you deliver the lesson. In the portal, you'll have the lesson plan. You'll have slides, either via Google Slides or PowerPoint slides. There's a student packet if there's work that the student needs to be done. And once in a while, there's homework. So there's a homework packet as well. Okay, so this is what our slides look like. Detective work, again, is the first lesson. The pattern of our lessons are pretty similar. Usually we engage the students with a question that we've discussed together with them, right? So for example, in this first lesson, when I say technology, what's the first thing you think of? So I've taught this lesson so many times, and I'll tell you, gaming, Minecraft, Roblox, cell phones, laptops. Kids never mention technology previous to the technology that they are so familiar with today. But that's really the purpose of this lesson, because as we all know, technology is not new. It's been around an awful long time. For example, there was a piece of technology invented a really long time ago called the writing stylus, and it changed a lot when it was introduced. In fact, not everybody was happy about this new tool. Some thought that being able to write things down would cause humans to forget how to use their memories. And so not everybody was really accepting to this new tool when it was first introduced to society. All right, so that's kind of the purpose of this lesson. You know, in the guide, it will tell you to tell your students that tools connect and disconnect humans from one another. Eyeglasses are a great example, these things here. They connect us by allowing us to see each other better. They also disconnect us because in the old days, if we needed to get from point A to point B, we'd rely on our friends to get in there. We don't need our friends for that anymore. We're able to get there on our own. So that's just a really quick example of what the kind of thinking we want the kids to do. I have to give credit for this awesome activity to Dr. Jason Oler, who wrote a great book, and all the resources are in the teacher guide if you want to learn more about it. But love this activity to kick off the beginning of all these lessons. All right, so as I mentioned, every lesson plan has an activity in it. It's in the slides. The activity for this lesson is kids break up into little groups of detectives, which in their group, they'll be given a tool to investigate. They have to think of 3 ways that tool connected people when it was first introduced, and 3 ways it disconnected people when it was first introduced. And like good detectives, they should write down their findings. So they can do this 1 to 2 ways. Within the teacher portal, you'll have these handouts like this, that there's the tool the kids have to investigate, and they can either write or use their computers and type in 3 ways it connected humans, 3 ways it disconnected humans. On the other side is the way I like to do it. I have the kids keep big lesson books. They can draw their tool and then physically write the way the tools connect, or the positive and negative aspects of that tool. All right, I mentioned there's homework also with some of the lessons, and that also comes within the teacher portal. All right, so unit 2, we start getting into really the nitty gritty here. What does it mean to be a citizen today? Kids are citizens not only of their physical worlds, but of really vast online communities too. And we've never really taken the time to tell them how to be a good citizen online and off. So that's what the first lesson does. We introduce them to the 5 principles of citizenship. So within the slides, we have some student videos that we've created. I'm going to show you one in a moment. They're embedded in the slides, but for teachers who don't like to use the slides or don't have the option to show technology in the classroom, that's okay. We have uploaded all the videos to YouTube, so we'll give you a URL in the teacher portal. I haven't met a kid yet who will not be excited about YouTube homework if you want to assign it as family viewing at home. So I'm just going to play you a few minutes. This one's hot off the press, just got finished last week, but I'll just play a little bit of it.
When you're out and about in the real world, how do you know how to be a good citizen? For example, what stops you from simply tossing your trash on the ground or taking home a candy bar you haven't paid for? How do you know how to pay attention to traffic signals? Or to say hello or good morning to someone passing you on the street? Or even to help someone who's fallen down? Humans have been around a long time, and during that time we've learned to follow certain principles of citizenship. These principles help us know how to treat one another so that we can all get along. When we follow the principles of citizenship, we live together peacefully and happily. One of the most important principles of citizenship is honesty. In simple terms, this is being truthful and fair. For example, an honest person doesn't say things or spread rumors that are not true. And an honest person also admits when they're wrong, even if it gets them into trouble. If they deny doing something they actually did, well, that's being dishonest. Another principle of citizenship is compassion.
So you get the gist there, but all of our videos are very short, very student friendly. All right, unit 2, oops, we did that one already. This also goes into unit 2. Once we've introduced the kids to the principles of citizenship, we want them to, first of all, think about how they apply those rules or those principles in communities they already belong to. So they do this again in their group of detectives. And in this case, the kids had to think about, like, if they're on a baseball team, how would they show these different principles? So courage, responsibility, compassion, respect, honesty, all of those things you would have to display if you were in a team. For example, respect. In order to play well in a game, you have to respect each other. Honesty, it takes honesty to tell each other how to play better. So we want them to think again, first physically in their real world, how do they display these principles of citizenship? And then we want them to take those same concepts into the online world. So for the second lesson, we have kids think about how would you be a good citizen online? And they got to choose any online community to think about that. So I thought this was really cute. It's hard to read, but I wanted to include it. These were some of my students who thought about a Google document. Now think about that. This is their community that they've experienced during COVID, like they're working together on a Google document. So that also requires you to think about how are you going to show respect, not putting personal things about someone on the document. How are you going to be honest, not writing bad words on the document? Courage, telling someone off in their post. I mean, it's just great because this is something that's really relevant to them, that they're able to think about how are they going to show these 5 principles in something they use every single day. And then here's another group of kids who chose YouTube as their online community. Again, how would you be compassionate on YouTube? Posting tutorials or information for people who need help is a great example of that. All right, so the third unit, very important one, your digital reputation. This one, again, has 3 lessons in it that help kids start thinking about how they can manage their digital reputation. I don't need to tell you how important this is. We know more and more colleges are looking at the digital reputation of kids to decide who to let in. And then, you know, we see headlines like this every single day of kids who have lost opportunities for scholarships or, you know, jobs, etc., because of just a horrible mistake they made on social media. One of the worst is the story you probably remember from a few years back of Harvard, who rescinded the acceptances for at least 10 students for posting obscene memes in what they thought was a private Facebook group. So this first lesson is really to help kids never let that happen again. So again, short video. I'm just going to play a couple seconds of it to introduce this concept. Whoopsie. Oh, maybe not. Hold on. Bear with me here. All right. Well, it's embedded within the slides for that activity. Really cute short video about what your digital reputation is. And it really guides kids towards the activity of this lesson, which is one of the activities I really love the most. For this activity, they've just heard the story about the Harvard students and what happened. So they are going to pretend to be a college admissions officer. And their job is to decide which of 2 final candidates will be the lucky recipient of a full athletic scholarship to their college. And they'll make their decision based on each applicant's digital reputation. And just like Harvard does, they're going to use the same criteria. Consider each candidate's honesty, maturity, and moral character. So our first applicant, we've whittled it down to 2 prospective kids. The first one is this boy, David Downing. So he writes a letter to the kids that they read about how he's a great soccer player. He's got a high GPA. He's on the science club. He wants to go to college to become an urban planner. So the next step is we give the kids a little packet. There's 2 ways to do this. You can display it on the screen for all the kids to look at together, or actually print out a little packet of this digital background check that has things like this, everything from an Instagram post to a Twitter post to a Facebook page to a page on YouTube that shows the kind of things our friend David has done online, which are not terrible, but they're typical of what kids do. And we want our students to look at this as though they were an adult saying, would I toilet paper a friend's house and put it on Instagram? Is that very smart? Or is it very smart to be disparaging on Twitter? Or gosh, the science club says he never shows up to any meetings and he says he's in the science club. So it allows kids to kind of have that critical thinking, looking at someone else's digital reputation. And the second candidate, same thing. It's a gal who looks great, high GPA. She has a food blog. She wants to be an English major. And again, the kids take a close look at her digital stuff. And she says she's on the honor roll, yet her name does not appear on the webpage of the honor roll for her school. She wants to be an English major, tons of misspellings on her food blog. She did something a little unfortunate on TikTok, et cetera, et cetera. So kind of the goal here is we have a little checklist that we give the kids, and it's their analysis. They have to decide together who they want to award the scholarship to and then explain their decision to the class. But I love this lesson too, because it has part 2 to it. We want kids to really think about the assumptions they make when they see things online, because you really have to be a critical thinker. Not everything you see online is fully true or accurate, as they will learn more and more as they move through cyber civics. But in this example, kids might have come to the conclusion that Sarah lied because her name was not on the school website. But then we asked the kids to think about that a little more deeply. How often do schools update their websites? Perhaps it was just human error. And then same thing, they jumped to the conclusion that David Downing hacked into the school's computer. But we want them to read the article carefully, because it actually is a completely different David Downing, not Dave Downing. So again, that critical thinking is built into all of these lessons. All right, so just a summary often happens at the end of the slides. You'll do this with the students. What did you learn? It's important to examine our assumptions when viewing online information, because information on the internet is not always completely accurate or true. Although we may not be able to entirely control what others post about us, we can and should choose our online friends wisely. Remember, others might make judgments about us based solely on what they find online. So I would say, of all the understandings you want them to come away with after level 1, this is probably one of the most important ones. What they say and do online really matters. All right, Unit 4 is all about ethical thinking. We do a lot of scenarios in this level. There's also a activity about how to communicate ethically and properly on whatever platform you use, whether it's emailing or texting one another, commenting respectfully. It's an activity you're seeing here on the right. When kids comment on one of their posts, those comments are part of their digital reputation too. So we do an in-class lesson where they actually write blog posts on a piece of paper. They pass them around the room. Everybody responds to them with little post-its, but it lets them practice that art of commenting respectfully. And then finally, they work together to create a code of conduct for their class. All right, Unit 5, so important. They're probably pretty much through the year here at this point, and it's good because they have a good base of understanding about digital tools, and we want them to understand how important and serious cyberbullying is. So our first 2 lessons are really empathy-based lessons. We want them to understand that behind every screen is a real person with real feelings. And then we get into the nitty-gritty. What is cyberbullying? What is digital drama? They're very different, but there's also overlapping behaviors. And so that's what you're seeing here on the right. You'll draw this Venn diagram on the board and talk about how cyberbullying, digital drama, and in-person bullying are similar yet different. Very important to teach them how to be an upstander, what to do should they see someone else being treated cruelly online. And then finally, the last lesson is what they should do if they become the target of cyberbullying. So I'm just going to show you this one lesson. One thing we really try to do in cyber civics is meet kids in all different learning styles. So this is a little story we tell them about how to be an upstander. And the story is not complete. Their job is to finish the story by writing in an upstander who steps in a cyberbullying situation. So we read them the story, but we also show them a little comic strip that's been started for the story. And then the students, their job is to complete the story. So this is some of my students on the left. One decided to complete the comic strip, went into great detail. It takes a lot of time to actually read through these, but it was so cute how they finished the story. And then on the right, a young girl that decided she wanted to do it in writing, and she completes the story talking about how an upstander steps in a cyberbullying situation and makes it better. All right, the final unit in level 1 is identity and privacy. This one really takes a look at, Kids are so excited to share who they are online and figure out who they are online, but they also have to understand to maintain some privacy. And that's really important and really hard for a young kid first going online to understand. So we have 6 lessons in this unit that take a closer look at that. And I'm just going to quickly show you one of them that is also a lot of fun to teach. This is called Myself, My Selfie. This comes from the slides. You're going to talk to the kids. Have you ever judged someone by their selfie? Think about what a selfie might say about you, especially when viewed by strangers. How selfies are shared and who they are shared with are important considerations. All right, so this is the fun part. Long before the selfie, there were self-portraits. Famous artists often painted themselves. These images, seen by many, spoke volumes about the artists who painted them. Let's talk about what the following paintings tell you about each artist, or what they reveal about that artist. So we have a whole bunch of these in the curriculum, from Andy Warhol, all these different people. So their job here is to look at each of these images and to really think about, whoa, I'm getting so much information from just this one self-portrait. And really the goal here is we want them to think about, how that happens today. People are putting selfies up all the time. So the activity that they do is, imagine you have to upload a bio picture to a social media site you just joined, but the problem is the camera has not been invented yet. So you have to draw it. So the kids draw their selfies. Believe it or not, these are actually from this last year, from 2 different classes. I mean, these kids are such good artists, it blows my mind. But what's more exciting for me is when I look at these, I can get so much information about the kids, probably because I know them, but also if you look carefully, they tell you a lot about their personality. So it's really fun. So now what they do is they share their selfies with one another. What do your classmates' selfie reveal about them? What conclusions might others draw about your classmates based on their selfie? So it gets them to start thinking about how an image gives so much information away. And this is kind of a fun way to ease them into that thought process. And remember, every image you post online might be seen by anyone and everyone. It could live online forever, and that's an awfully long time. All right, so I took you through level 1 really quickly. Really happy to show you any more lessons you might be interested in. Remember, if you subscribe to CyberCivics, you can get a complimentary screen share like what I just did at any time. If you need help, just reach out. We also offer teacher workshops and parent presentations. So that's where you can contact us. And thank you so much for taking a look at CyberCivics.